Every time they try to deny the obvious, another sign appears that makes it impossible to ignore what's happening between Taehyung and Jungkook. In Taehyung's last live stream, something happened that immediately got us all talking. It wasn't just what he was saying on camera, but what we could see behind him. If you were paying attention, you probably noticed it too, that shadow that moved as if someone else were standing there. Taehyung didn't say it with words, but the way he reacted gave the impression that he wasn't alone. And of course, those of us who closely follow everything that happens with Taehyung don't need to be shown a face to realize who it was. From the first second, most people thought it was Jungkook. Some tried to give another explanation, saying that it was probably a staff member who was working with him at the time. But to be honest, we've heard that excuse many times before. In the end, those who say these things are the same people who are bothered by Jungkook always appearing next to Taehyung. The funny thing is that these people never stop to consider the obvious. For example, they always insist on linking Jungkook to the favorite, when the same company had already confirmed that the favorite was dating a girl. That news was clear, but many still deny it and repeat the idea that Jungkook has feelings for him. But, if we put the rumors aside and look at the facts, the question is simple: who do we see Jungkook with most often? Who does he really spend the most time with? The answer is easy: Taehyung. We've seen them together at the gym, training side by side, supporting each other. We've also seen them live, on broadcasts where it's clear how comfortable they feel sharing the same space. It's not just being there, it's the way they look at each other, the way they laugh at simple things, or the tranquility they transmit when they're around each other. It's the kind of thing that can't be faked. And of course, for many who don't want to accept that closeness, every appearance of Taekook is a problem. They don't know how to react, and the only thing left for them is to say that it's all a coincidence or part of a plan. But we, who have followed their steps for a long time, know better. What used to be something that happened occasionally is now part of everyday life. We see them laugh, share, train, and appear together without fear of being noticed. And the most interesting thing is that they no longer seem to worry about hiding it. They show it as if it were the most normal thing in the world, and that says a lot. That detail of the shadow in the live show, although it may seem small, adds to all those moments we've been collecting. It's not definitive proof or anything like a big deal, but it fits perfectly with what we already know. Jungkook and Taehyung have a different relationship, closer and stronger than the one they share with anyone else. While some are still inventing theories about Taehyung, the reality is already etched on Jungkook's skin. Taehyung's handwriting shines on his arm like a wordless declaration. One of the most talked about topics lately is something very specific: Jungkook's tattoos. It's no secret that he's always loved tattoos and that, little by little, his body has become a kind of personal canvas where he leaves marks that represent important things in his life. But what caught the attention of many now is the detail of the letter V that appeared tattooed on his arm, and for those of us who follow Taehyung closely, it doesn't go unnoticed at all. The first thing that caught our attention was how recent it looked. It didn't look like an old tattoo, one of those that wear down a little over time, but something new, done with care. And the curious thing is where that letter is placed, right next to the microphone, which he already had tattooed before. For anyone, it might be a simple detail, but those of us who follow Taehyung closely know what it means. The microphone has always been a reference to Taehyung, and now with the letter V next to it, the message becomes even clearer. This isn't a coincidence. It's a decision Jungkook wanted to leave forever etched on his skin. Tattoos tell stories, and in this case, the story Jungkook is telling is clear: Taehyung is someone fundamental in his life. Obviously, not everyone accepts it that easily. There are those who refuse to see it and look for any explanation. The Jikook, for example, long claimed that the moon tattoo Jungkook had was a reference to the favorite. That theory was repeated thousands of times on social media, as if it were the ultimate proof of something.
But reality proved them wrong. That tattoo is gone.
It was removed, and in its place now sits another design. That's one of the reasons why so many of those theories fall flat on their face. The truth is simple: between Jungkook and the favorite, there is only friendship, nothing more. The rest are fantasies born from edits, rumors, or baseless assumptions. And although many still cling to that idea, the evidence is there for all to see. Jungkook isn't marking anything related to him on his skin. What is engraved, and very clearly, is Taehyung's name, represented in his handwriting and on that accompanying microphone. When we look at it as a whole, it's impossible not to notice the pattern. Jungkook has chosen specific, very personal symbols that always point to the same person. And he doesn't do it with words or public statements, he does it with tattoos, with something that doesn't fade overnight. Furthermore, if we combine this with what we already know about their daily lives, the picture becomes even more evident. Jungkook spends a lot of his time with Taehyung, they train together, appear on broadcasts, and appear comfortable and natural around each other. And now with the tattoos, all he's done is make it even clearer. Every time Jungkook shows his arm, every time that letter V appears, it feels like a silent reminder. And even if some want to continue denying it, the truth is there, etched into his skin. In the end, rumors are forgotten, theories are dispelled, but the tattoos remain. And in this case, what remains is a very simple statement: Jungkook's heart belongs to Taehyung, and he himself chose to make it visible as clearly as possible. What we see today between Jungkook and Taehyung is something that can't be covered up with excuses. A while ago, their interactions were shorter and less frequent. You had to be very attentive to notice when they shared a gesture, a glance, or a special moment. Now the story is different. Their closeness has become constant, so much so that it's already normal to see them together. And the most important thing is that they don't hide it. There are no attempts to disguise or hide what they feel. On the contrary, they show it naturally, like someone who no longer needs to justify anything. For those of us who have followed Taehyung for a long time, these aren't just beautiful moments, they are clear signs of a relationship that has grown and is now stronger than ever. The most obvious example is Jungkook's tattoos. Every time you see his arm, the letter V appears as a silent reminder. He doesn't need to explain it because the mark speaks for itself. Next to it is the microphone, another tattoo that has always been linked to Taehyung. The fact that they're both together on the same arm isn't a coincidence, it's intentional. Rumors have always tried to divert attention. Jikook, for example, said that the moon tattoo Jungkook had was for the favorite. That idea was repeated 1,000 times, but over time it became clear that it didn't make sense. That tattoo was erased and replaced. What's now on his skin leaves no room for doubt. Taehyung's initial was engraved, and that doesn't erase easily. The difference is that rumors are forgotten, but tattoos remain. They're permanent decisions, marks that tell stories that aren't made up. And in this case, the story is clear: Jungkook chose to mark Taehyung on his skin. But their relationship isn't limited to a tattoo. It's also evident in how they understand and support each other. It's not just shared smiles in front of the cameras, there are gestures that show real care. They hold hands, massage each other, look at each other calmly, and pay attention to every detail. They don't do that with everyone, only with each other. There are very clear moments that show it. For example, in the pre-concert videos, you can see them backstage, while the rest focus on their routine. Jungkook and Taehyung have something different. They speak in low voices, they encourage each other, they transmit calmness. Sometimes a touch on the shoulder, sometimes a quick word. Just enough to calm nerves and step onto the stage with confidence. And that doesn't just happen in private. It also happens in public. On live broadcasts, in live performances, there's always a gesture, a look, a sign of complicity that gives them away. They don't try to hide it, because in the end, that connection is part of who they are. Before, it might have seemed strange to see, but now it's evident. Taehyung shows himself without a filter. And although some prefer to continue denying it, the facts are stronger than any invented theory. The tattoos, the interactions, the shared routines, everything points in the same direction. In the end, what Jungkook has done is simple but powerful. While others continue to invent stories, he decided to leave the truth written on his arm.
The letter V isn't a rumor or an edit. It's real ink, clear and visible. And with it, he left a direct message: his heart belongs to Taehyung, and he doesn't need to say it out loud because he's already made it clear as possible.